Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon and good evening to everybody who's joined the session today. I hope I'm audible. If somebody can just put in the chat box if you all can hear me. Okay. So it's my pleasure to be here today and to take up this very interesting topic. For those who don't know me, I'm Dr. Namrata Singh. I'm the founder of Curacause Healthcare Solutions. It's a medical communication agency. The company is the team members are based in India, majority of them. I'm based in the Netherlands, and we do have offices in Singapore and US also. So we work across the globe and we work on various types of documents of medical writing, medical communication. And this is one topic which has, taken, I guess, everybody by storm. And so we were kind of pushed into thinking of this webinar where we wanted to share whatever we have learned till now. We are still exploring. It's not something where I can call myself or my team as an expert on this. It's a topic which is um, too broad for anybody to say that they are experts in it. We are still learning, we are still evolving. And today with me I have my other speaker with me today, Dr. Shruti. Shruti, if you can just switch on your camera. So both of us will be kind of talking about this interesting topic about how generative AI and what all we have come across, the information which is already there, which is published, some examples, and we are going to be talking about all that in the session. So the initial part I am covering where I'm talking about what is a problem area and why do we need to know about AI, especially in context to scientific publications. And Shruti would be talking about the guidelines which are there, the ethical considerations which are important for us to know when we are working on research and when we are working on publications. And there is a couple of recommendations which have come up from some international bodies, which we will just cover at the end, towards the end of the session. So, Shruti, if you can just briefly introduce yourself, and then I'll start with the session.
Hello, thank you, Dr. Namrata, and welcome everyone to this session. And we look forward to for this particular webinar. It's going to be hopefully it is equally enlightening for all of you as well, and interesting for all of you as well, because this is quite a talk of the town these days. I'm Dr. Shruti here. I'm the technical head with Turacos, and I take care of all the different verticals, including medical communications, scientific publications, advisory boards, and real world studies, along with clinical research related documents. And we look forward for a very meaningful discussion today.
Thank you, Shruti. And actually, if I can just share something before we start the session. So when we decided on this topic, we really didn't know that how much of information we are going to come across. And believe me, like we've been working on the slides 5 minutes before the session also. So if if there are any errors or if you come across anything that you feel is not correct, please feel free to put in the comment, let us know. And as I mentioned that we all are still learning. So I'm going to share the presentation. We What we are going to do here is so that you see the disclaimers and you'll understand what I've been talking. So this is first disclaimer here. What we want to convey to all of you is that we are only focusing on the content development part of scientific publications. We are not talking about data analysis or image generations. Maybe that is a topic for some other session. And the second disclaimer, what I want to convey here is, with rapid advancements in generative AI, there are so many new features which are coming up every single day. And so whatever information we are sharing this day, so you can just consider it to be kind of updated till 18th April 2023, when we kind of after that we did not find any new literature. So whatever we are talking to you is updated by 18th April 2023. And as I mentioned, we are not experts in using generative AI. We are also exploring how to best use these tools, and we really look forward to. There may be some people in the audience who have worked on these tools, or maybe who have some experiences. And please feel free to share your experiences with us, give your suggestions. And it's something, where I guess the more exchange of information that we have, the better it is going to be for the whole medical writing community. Now, what are we going to have in this session? I've already like kind of told this. So we talk about AI in scientific publication. How did it start? So actually, when was the seed established, and when did we start hearing about it? And then we have collated certain published papers who talk about generative AI in scientific publications. They speak of the good, they speak of the bad. So we have collated some of the papers. There are certain ethical concerns when we are using AI in scientific publication. We have kind of highlighted the ethical concerns which are there, and then spoken about the journals. What are some standard journals talking about it? How should we be using it? What are the best practices to use it? What are the disclaimers which we have to mention? And international organizations, so especially we are talking about World Association of Medical Editors, WAME. So they came up with a recommendation very recently, and that is the first recommendation which has come up, and rest are yet to follow. And it wrote an academic thesis on itself within 2 hours. So that this is what was mind boggling. The researcher who directed the AI to write the paper submitted it to a journal with the bot's consent in June 2022. So all this you can kind of find out. Then there is machine translation. Now when we talk of publications, it is not only English language where publications are published. So there are various local languages, native languages, where research is conducted and published. So that becomes that becomes easier dealing with it. And also sometimes when you start on a topic and you may not know about everything about the topic, and this is especially for medical writers. Now we kind of compared, if we are using the conventional publication process, where as I mentioned that it is authors or maybe medical writers who are working on a publication, versus generative AI driven publication process. Now the literature search time is obviously, it is exhaustive. Now if you want to do the literature search, if you're doing it using a AI tool, like theoretically it can be done within less than 1 day, but just to be on a safer side, I would say a couple of days. If we keep like, so we do a literature search where we get the responses, and then we evaluate the literature and see whether what the hits the selection what we have has covered everything or not, and maybe do some random check in that database and see in case we have missed on anything. Then the second important point here is per article reading and summarizing. Normally, like minimum of 30 minutes, but it can go up to, I would say, 1.5 to 2 hours, depending on how much the author or the writer knows the topic. And but in this case, the per article summarization can be done in few seconds.
So the concerns, if I have to divide them, I can just broadly classify them into two parts. One is the authenticity of the information provided in the publication. Now, as we saw that there is plagiarism, there is falsification of data, there is inaccurate data that is given, hallucination, invented references. So how do we check for the authenticity of this information which is there in the publication? So before we go on to this debate, let us first try to understand the authorship criteria which is given by ICMJE. ICMJE is International Congress for Medical Journal Editors. So what does this group tells you that when who can become an author? So for someone to become an author, he or she has to have a substantial contribution to the conception or the design of the work. So he or she should be participated actively in the study design or in the study acquisition, that is acquisition of the data, or in the data analysis or the data interpretation. Okay, so chatbots or any kind of generative AI tools which are there, they cannot be authors. The reason is that they do not meet the requirements for authorship, because you are using it as a tool You are using it as a tool to find answers. ChatGPT was not there in the conceptualization of your design, or it has not reviewed what you have written or what it has given. It has not approved it. It cannot approve, right? It is only giving you the input. It is only giving you the output. Okay, it does not have any provision for to say that I approve whatever is going out. Okay, and it does not take onus of whatever is being published. So these, it does not meet the ICMJ criteria. Most important thing, chat gpt, it's a tool, it's a machine, so it does not understand the conflict of interest statement, okay, of the legal understanding of to, and it does not have that authority to sign that statement, which is required today. When you are going to submit anything, we all know that, that when we have to submit a article to any kind of journal, then there are few things that we need to comply with. One of them is the conflict of interest statement. The second important thing is a copyright issues. Okay, a chatbot or any kind of generative oi cannot hold copyright. So this is just a retaliation of the same thing. How do we reference a chat GPT or any kind of AI tool if we have used it in your scientific publication? So declare this fact. Okay, so where you declare it, you can declare it in the acknowledgement section as per the MAME guidelines, and you can provide the full technical specifications of that chatbot, which includes the name, version, model, and source, and the method of applications in the paper where you have used a chatbot. You may have used it for creating a figure. You may have used it for reference check. You may have used it for doing a detailed systematic literature review. You may have used it for creating your own research questions. Wherever you have used it, you need to give that very transparently in the acknowledgement section.
There is also going to be like images where we will the writers use images, the writers use so many other things. So I'm sure there is going to be a lot of, I would not say a new role which is coming up, but it would be something like a medical writer who knows how to use AI. That becomes, the next level of career, or the next level of step which you might have to take. So there are two sets now: medical writers who do not use AI, who do not explore AI, and the second set becomes medical writers or scientific writers who use AI, who explore, who browse, who actually are curious about it. And when you are curious, you ask questions, you read about it, and then eventually you might learn something out of it. So currently I don't see any reduction in the effort hours. Is
Yes.
it acceptable to use AI for editing or translation? I think for editing, it is acceptable, but still you'll have to see whether the paraphrasing which is done, or the change, it's not changing the meaning. That's important. And translation, again, because when we talk about medical literature, when we talk about scientific literature, even if we are getting translation done from a native language speaker, still there are chances of misinterpretation there. Because if I have written in English and I am going to maybe translate it into Dutch or maybe French, so the person who's doing it, if they don't have medical and scientific background, obviously they will not, they might misinterpret it. So that caveat is still here. And people are using for editing, people are using for translation, but again it's the same, that you have to be careful. Yes, we will. We will be sharing the literature what we collected. So there are some very good papers and some very good, references which we had. So we learned a lot, while preparing this presentation. I really had no idea that there is so much of information there, and because of this webinar, I also learned a lot.
Yes, definitely. We all learned a lot in this session, and I mean, one thing is for sure that we should not fear the AI. AI is going to be there. Yeah, it's definitely going to be there for long with all of us. So I remember somewhere in 1990s, people were fearing the with computers coming, people would lose a lot of jobs. But no, it gave way to a lot of many more jobs. The same thing is true with AI. Okay, because we know that this hallucinations will happen, there will be incorrect references. So maybe tomorrow you'll have jobs to correct those. You'll have jobs to cross check, validate, those kind of things. There'll be a newer kind of what do you say, job profiles which should be available. And definitely, uh, the- for a writer or for an author, it is going to be, it will save a lot of time, because as we mentioned, some of the time consuming mundane tasks can be reduced considerably if we use it wisely. So I think it's all up to us how we use it and how we take it.
I would say bye from our side, and thank you so much once again. And it was lovely to talk with all of you, and listen, respond to your queries, and give our presentation. And thank you so much. And hopefully we will soon meet again. Thank you, Shruti, and thank you for the team which works behind it. So Sri Bhagwan, Gursimran, everybody who makes this whole process of conducting a webinar so simple and so easy for us. Thank you so much. Thank you, Turacos team. Thanks a
Thank,
lot.
thank you, everyone.